Hello, everyone. Welcome today in this what's going to be an interesting event. We thank you for joining us in this webinar where we will discuss machine translation in a very specific industry, the construction industry in concrete. Before we jump into the details of today's topics and presentation, a couple of housekeeping elements. Please, for all the attendees, keep your mics muted throughout the entire event, throughout the entire presentation. And if you have any question, please ask those in the chats of the different channels where we are broadcasting the event: Zoom, Facebook, and LinkedIn. As I can see now, we've already received some questions. Thank you for those ones. And keep them coming. We will allocate a Q&A session after today's presentation. Let me share my screen with you, and we will be able to start. Bear with me 1 second while I do that. You should be now able to see my presentation in your screens. As I mentioned before, machine translation for the construction and building materials industry. This is the topic of today's webinar. Before we jump into the topic of today's presentations, let me introduce our speakers. From one side, we have Arturs Vasilievskis, who is the head of machine translation solutions at Tilde, where he leads the machine translation group overseeing all aspects of MT, sales and product development. Under his leadership, Tilde has realized many major language technology projects for e-governments, such as EU Council Presidency Toolkit for the EU Council Presidency, the language technology platform Hugo LV, and enterprise solutions for other companies. MT, as well as has received global acknowledgement, winning the so-called World Machine Translation Competition for 3 years in a row. We will also have Victoria Kononova joining us today as a speaker. Victoria is the customer relations manager at Tilde. She helps Tilde in developing its international MT business segment. Victoria is a trusted partner for any company looking to learn about machine translation or include new tools in their current translation processes. Victoria has advised companies in many sectors about the advantages of machine translation in optimizing their general business processes. And finally, also today we will have the presence of Elisa Jaunzeme. She works at Albau already for 3 years and has been responsible not only for the e-commerce in the company, but also for the development and translation of the company's websites in more than 5 languages. So she's basically assisted in the digitalization of the processes on a daily basis. Elisa has acquired education on this subject in higher education, as well as expanding the range of knowledge in different courses in order to be more successful in this field. So all in all, today we live in a very increasing digital world. Tackling digital challenges is an essential element for companies, including also those from more traditional sectors like the construction, which is the relevant topic today. Today we will look at the digital evolution, artificial intelligence tools, usage in these kind of scenarios, and also we will apply all that theory in practice, seeing a real use case. We presented the speakers, and before we jump into today's topic, I just want to give you a teaser. At the end of the webinar, we will have a special offer for all the participants. So stay tuned, and you will find out all the details shortly. After this, what I do is give the word to Arturs Vasilievskis. Artur, the floor is yours.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you, Ruben, for very warm welcome, and lovely to see you all today. As introduced, so my name is Artūrs Vasilevskis, and I'm responsible for machine translation business solutions at Tilde. So let me share my screen. All right. So, and as I will use this opportunity to highlight important role or actually great opportunities which can bring to us by using state-of-the-art machine translation solutions by Tilde MT. So to put us all on the same page, I will share a couple of interesting facts. So from the Europe landscape perspective, there are 24 official languages. Languages used in administration, legal, and business communication. Moreover, there are 80 languages in Europe widely spoken and used in day-to-day communication. Such language diversity in Europe creates language barriers, like invisible borders between countries, between communities. And this is one of the major obstacles for the European digital single market, preventing information flow, trades, information access, and share. And rapid and the trade development itself. There could be an opinion, hey, let's use English as one common language. Let's basically switch to English. But unfortunately, English is not the answer. And there is a couple of reasons for that. As for example, conducted studies show that 62% of Europeans does not master English enough to have a meaningful conversation. And almost 60% of European communication in internet news access are preferable done in their native language. Also, statistics shows that 42 of Europeans never, as for the big word, never purchase a product and services in the language other than its own. From the one hand, there is a multilingual environment, a huge market. And from the other hand, there is kind of a silos or containers. So for the businesses to translate homepage, product description, or to access, to understand the foreign procurement documentation, or to reach potential customers in so many languages, mean that they should translate the whole content by human translation, which can be pretty expensive. E-commerce, digital environment, have a very, very tight, competitive, and dynamic environment. And time is crucial factor. Time is money also. And as fast and as in more languages, a business can provide their information to potential customers or access to the foreign market in the foreign language, the better off they will be. And obviously, the solution is a quality machine translation solutions. So, and at Tilde, to overcome those communication language challenges by competitive and efficient and dynamic multilingual information exchange, we Tilde truly believe that there is an important role of technologies, AI-powered technologies. We Tilde, our team, which consists of passionate people with more than 10 PhDs, with the experience and competence gathered already for 30 years, and with the connections to the large research and development collaboration networks across the globe, we develop AI-powered technologies, which help communicate in the multilingual business environment. As for our machine translation solutions, we have been successfully implemented and used by many of our customers across Europe and even beyond worldwide. in the private businesses, in startups, large-scale enterprises like IBM, and as at least, but not least, also in the public sector. We have been recognized as a trusted partners, for example, as Ruben just mentioned, by the German Ministry of Foreign Affairs by providing machine translation for the German presidency, which actually just recently successfully ended. Interesting fact that the word, or to be more precise, the term AI was introduced by John MacArthur back in 1956, describing performed research in disciplines like language simulation, neural networks, complexity theory. But now AI, by the term AI, we understand the technology, or actually practical and helpful tools or gadgets, like, for example, self-driving cars. I believe we are all familiar with the Tesla, a car powered with the AI, which can make their, so to say, own decisions while driving. Robots, which can perfectly assist humans in a boring task. Virtual assistants, which can support us in a virtual environment. And of course, machine translation. A little bit of history. Actually, machine translation have a long story. First attempt to translate text from one language to another was made during the Cold War by IBM, a huge IT company, as we all know. Translation from Russian into the English for obvious reason was attempt to access in a fast and efficient way to information. At that time, back in 50s, the quality was useless. And the next jump was made in the 70s when was introduced the technology, new type of technology for machine translation, rule-based machine translation. Technology was based of tons of code lines describing which and how each word or sentence should be translated. To understand the meaning, the technology was good enough for the purpose. The next jump in technology was made by the statistical machine translation. So this technology was introduced in back in the 90s, where translation was generated by the computer based on the statistics from the millions of translation samples. This technology worked also in the practical environment, assisting translators in the translations, but had issues with the long sentences, complex languages, morphologically rich languages like Finnish, Estonian, Latvian, Hungarian, and many more European languages. And finally, like a real breakthrough was just recently, I would say already for 4 years ago, done by the current state-of-the-art technology, which is neural networks. Technology which provides a fluent and human-like translation. And in the custom-made machine translation systems in a specific domains can reach even a parity with the human translation. So interesting fact that vision for approach or technology for the neural networks was proposed or researched back in 40s. At that time, only on the papers, and only now, a couple of years ago, when the powerful GPU processors was made available, this technology of neural networks currently is, so to say, enabled and accessible for our day-to-day use. Machine translation based on neural network itself, it's a complex algorithm. unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, I cannot say much in this regards. This is just an illustration how complex it is. And we at Tilde have neural networks engineers, a special team dedicated to the building such complex process. The team which is dealing with this complex technology. So we, as the users, can simply translate text from one language to another, and this complex process is done behind the scenes. So we are enjoying, so we can enjoy fluent and then precise translation. So yeah, and from the practical aspect, the machine translation is applicable technology in a business, a modern business environment, a must-have technology, I would say, to have a business advantage in current fast and dynamic environment. With the machine translation, we can translate texts, document, access to the information in foreign language, or vice versa, provide your information for the rest of the multilingual world. And from my side, last but not least, before I will give word to my colleague Victoria, we are explicitly proud of our achievements in machine translation competition. So the competition, or how we in machine translation community also are calling machine translation Olympic Games, which only take place on a yearly basis. We managed to develop a best performing in terms of the quality machine translation systems. So this is a global competition in which participates global players like Google, Microsoft, Yandex, and many others. So in this competition, we managed to achieve such great results by developing technology and providing the same technology, world-leading technology to our business customers. And in the way how this technology can be accessible and used in a very everyday business environment will be introduced by the next speaker, Victoria. The floor, the virtual floor is yours.
Thank you, Arturs. Hello, everybody. My name is Victoria, and I'm responsible for the business segment at Tilde. And in just 1 second, I will share the rest of the presentation that you will be able to see. One second. Here it is. Okay, so I'm here to tell you why translation is important in the construction industry and how our solutions can help you succeed. As you all know, construction is a very complex industry that requires a lot of precision to carry out successful projects. And accurate translation, of course, among other elements, is essential to carry out and to execute flawlessly those projects. Now, there are several stages where translation comes in. First is translation of large volume documents. And these are design plans, manuals, tender documents, contracts, among many. These are, as mentioned, large volume and normally PDF format documents that take a lot of time and effort to translate. And sometimes some tenders are not even looked at, and some projects are disregarded because of the language barrier. Now, with our technology, you can translate these documents with a click of a button with minimal editing required, which I will demonstrate later on. Another element is outsourcing. A lot of companies that you outsource to are located in different countries and speak different languages. There is a lot of communication and documentation that comes in place, and it's essential that the information transmitted is accurate. Nothing is lost. It's also important that this information is exchanged in a safe and secure environment for you and for your partners. Now, we ensure that you can do that using our email plugin. in a safe and secure environment as well that I will show you later on. Now, internal communication and processes. Everybody that is involved in one particular project, architects, managers, administration staff, they do not always speak the language of the industry, or perhaps do not understand some terms the way they should be understood. And construction industry has a lot of terms. I believe, I'm not the expert, but I imagine it has a lot of complicated terms. Now we have a terminology portal that you can have access to, and you can store your terms, and everybody can understand and ensure that they are speaking the same language. Obviously, your website, that's the face of your company, needs to have global reach. Any company that wants to be successful has to reach global audience, and we ensure that through our website translator. I understand that information constantly changes. The content that you create in the original language constantly changes, and it takes a lot of time and effort as well to update it in many different languages. Now that's a hassle for everybody. Now, our translator ensures that you can edit and do it right there on the website with minimum input from your side to ensure that your translations are synchronous, accurate, and reaching the global audience. Now, how can we help? This is the main tool is the translation platform. That is a safe and secure environment where, as I already mentioned, you can translate your documents, you can translate text, you can translate websites, any other external websites. You can have plugins to website translator, to email translator, and to the terminology portal, everything that is done within our safe and secure environment that I will be able to demonstrate in just 1 second. Now, hopefully you can all see my screen now. Here is how the platform looks like. You are logging in, or everybody that you will give access to will log in here, and that will bring you into the safe and secure space, where you can see there, you can update the platform with your branding. And these are the plugins that I already mentioned that I will speak about in just 1 minute. So here in this box, you can type in any text you want in any language and have a translation here. You can also copy a URL, in this case, an Estonian website right there, and automatically it will identify that this website is in Estonian, and will suggest any translations that you can do. Here, for the sake, we'll do it in English, and you can see that the website immediately is translated into English, so you can read news or have access to any portals in any language that you want. Now, the important tool that I mentioned, document translation. Here we uploaded a PDF file. It's a tender document from Swedish. We're translating it into English, and you can take a look how complex it is. There's diagrams, there's pie charts. It's a quite large document of 50 pages long that you can just drag and drop into the platform. You can see there's a lot of formatting and styling. Now, the platform enables you to extract that downloaded file and make changes in the PDF, so in the original document, because there are some errors. It's still not a perfect tool. And then as it is translated, there is an option to download the document in Word or PDF. It's best to download it in the Word format so you can make changes and convert it later on. And you can take a look how accurate it is. It's not perfect. There are still some flaws, but they're minor. The thing is, you can have the understanding of what the document is about and still preserve the formatting and diagrams. Now, the next tool that I will show you is I will stop for 1 second, is the cut tool, our own online cut tool. So for example, as a manager, you would want a document to be translated. So you can assign it in the safe environment to anybody in the company. that can log in and have access to this document and translate it using our own pretty simple and straightforward CAD tool. Now, for the demonstration purposes, we will use a document and translate it from English into German. And as you see, the original file in the original language is stored on the left-hand side and broken down into segments, which are sentences. Now, we will click on one sentence, and on the right-hand side, machine translation will give you a suggestion of translating the text. You click on that, it translates, and you can edit it however you want and save that, which goes into the translation memory of the system. Now, if you translate this segment again, it will give you an option of either the translation memory or a translation again, and you can give access to these memories to anybody in your organization. There you have the time, how long it took us to translate. And now let's take a look at the terminology. Now we select one term, in this case, computer. Look it up in our terminology database, and you can see that the terms are explained right there. And you can store them into your own collections that you can give access to anybody in your organization. Here is a demo of the computer term under our collection. And you can see that the explanation of the term is done in many different languages, whatever you want. Also the URL or any media that you would want to copy there. And you can have a discussion with anybody in your company about this specific term, the use of this term. Now, what we're currently working on is you are able to assign a certain translation of this term in a language, for example, translating computer as a personal computer in one language, not the other. So the system will remember that. And it's a pretty advanced tool for such complex industries. Now let's take a look at the website translator. Here are the instructions of how to set it up, and we will look at our website. Now, normally we maintain, obviously, this website in English and in many different languages, but to make edits and changes or input any content, you would want to use the original language, in our case, Latvian. And you can edit it right there through a visual editor on the web page, as you can see. You can also do it in the text editor, which is here, the boxes. And an important tool for you as a business is the search engine optimizer. You can type in any sentence, any word, and it will come up in any search engine that anybody would use. Through these plugins here, we will take a look at the website, at the Outlook email plugin that you can set up through these very simple instructions. And I will just quickly show you a very basic email exchange. Here's an email from my client. So I will log into this space, which is safe, as I already mentioned, and I would want to translate this email into my original language, into Latvian, so I can read it. I can also reply right there by typing the text in Latvian, and I would need to translate it into English. I would type it right there, and I will be able to quickly translate it and copy it into the reply box right there. Just a basic example for you. That's how the exchange is taking place in the same secure platform. And last but not least, you can also upload or send any files to us using the Request Human Translation plugin. And we will, as professional translators, receive the file and do any editing or proofreading if necessary. Now I will go back to my presentation in just 1 second to finish off this. Now, what do you get as a business? What's in it for you? Obviously, successful projects with no mistakes, no information is lost. Everybody knows everything to the smallest detail in the language of their choice. You optimize your processes through saving time and money. And you also have a global reach through your communication through your website. all of these in return will boost your profitability. And obviously every company wants to do that. And that's the aim of every business. So that's what our tools will help you do. That's it for me. And I will give the floor to our next speaker, Elisa, who is your peer and will be able to give you an example of how our tools helped her. Thank you very much.
Hi. Yeah, I will share my screen and then I will tell you everything from my side. So hi, my name is Elisa and I'm from company Albo, and I'm the only one who is responsible for translation work and homepage maintaining. I want to share our everyday challenges with you today, which are related with automatization and multilingualism. Albo is construction material wholesaler, and with our own online store, Xbow. And on our site, you can find a wide range of products which constantly has been maintained and replenished. So our company takes places in 4 countries, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, and Finland, which means that our everyday is not based only on translating product specifications in different languages, but also communicating with our colleagues in different languages. As we all know, not always everyone has master English and or Russian, and therefore some colleagues, online translator is necessary every day to just communicate with other colleagues. And as well as our colleagues, all of our suppliers are from different countries too. And that's why sometimes some documents and contracts, descriptions of goods, and even some emails are in different languages like Finnish, English, Polish, and others. And it's a well-known fact that the internet environment has no state borders. Therefore, our clients comes not only from Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, and Finland, but also from other countries too, which means that communication with our clients cannot be held in just our native language. And this is another challenge for us. Of course, it's impossible to work with or just simply communicate with without online translator. However, every day our work takes place in a digital environment, and today our webpage is available in 5 languages: Latvian, Lithuanian, Estonian, Russian, and English. But we have been started translating it into the Danish, Swedish, and Finnish. On our Xbow, right now you can find more than 10,000 construction products, but we haven't stopped yet. And amount of products keeps growing every day, so that our assortment would be complete and interesting for every builder. And we have not only maintained product descriptions in 5 languages on a website, but also at least 1 file with the documentation too. And documentations mostly includes product data sheets, declarations, or any kind of other document that is important for our clients. And these documents most of the time comes into the PDF formats from our suppliers. And here comes the question for sure: how easy or difficult is to create and maintain such an information amount already in 8 languages, and how much time does it take to create the documents and convert them in PDF, and how in general it's just doable to do this all by not employing a single person to do this job. So before the translation automatization, we received documents from our partners, including the documentation in the PDF. And after that, we compiled all the information into the Excel, and then we started to translate. We sent it to the translators, and then we had to wait for about 3 to 5 days. And when the translations were, we received the translations, information input, and in the web page, document formatting, converting into the PDF just begun. And few document overall input took just 4 to 7 days, and construction terms were not always translated correctly. And me and my colleagues from Lithuania and Estonia always have to review the translations. But then we got to know the machine translator, which reduced our work of time and our work. Not now when we receive the information from our partners, we just put it into the translator, and in a few seconds we receive the translation. Yes, of course, we always have to review it and the outcome, but the more we translate and the more we correct the translations for the machine translator, the more the translator learns our necessary phrases. With documents, it's more easier. We don't need to convert them. We just put them into the translator site and receive the ready-to-use file. And it really takes a lot of time and human resources. And of course, it's more cost-effective than paying translator companies. But our next step is to put this translator in our webpage, Backstage, where my colleagues work with the translated information, like put them into the, in our webpage. And then it won't be necessary to open even additional tab with the Tilde translator, because we'll be able to do it on our own site. It will save our time, which has been taken just to copy and paste from one tab to another. And now it will work automatically, and all we have to do is just to switch languages. And just last few steps has to be done, and very, very soon we will have this tool in our website. And for now, while we can't use the translator on our webpage, we keep teaching the machine translator our necessary phrases, which is a great challenge for us too. As some of us mentioned that construction industry terms are complicated enough. And I think that very, very soon we will be able to maintain information in 8 different languages, and it will be very easy and handy for us. Thank you all today that you listened about my presentation.
Thank you, Elisa. Thank you, Artur. Also, thank you, Victoria, for your words, your slides, and the details that you've shared. It's been a truly interesting element and conversation, the one that we've had so far. And it's been interesting from different perspectives, different topics, and elements. As we've understood from all the speakers today, there are a few elements that we've seen as main highlights. Yeah, we see different solutions that fit the different needs in terms of customization, in terms of tackling certain multilingual challenges from different perspectives, from expanding audiences with a website translator to full document translation when it comes to handling complex documentation, tenders, contracts, and so on. And especially the security element, something that Victoria highlighted during her presentation. And then all that theory has been also put into practice with the words of Elisa, where we've seen in a practical real case how a company can manage to reduce complexities, optimize processes, reduce time in terms of the amount of time allocated to certain tasks, and then also reduce costs. At the end of the day, these are 2 key elements: reduce time and reduce cost, and then you can boost also the profitability of the company, which is the main topic nowadays in any business. So I promised something at the beginning of the presentation. Let me just share my screen with you once again, and I'll be able to share with you the thing that we've been promising, the special offer, basically, to all the attendees. I think you can see my screen right now. And so what is all the fuss about that we promised at the beginning of the presentation? So a 30% off on your first 3 months. Of course, taking into account that we offer a free trial you can cancel at any time. And what is also important, you have an allocated person, a dedicated person for you. In here, you can see the details. You can reach out to Victoria at victoria.kononova@tilde.com. I'll leave this slide for a couple of minutes, so you can also manage to capture that email address. And Victoria will be building those bridges between what you need, the different solutions that we covered today, apply them in your real case and real scenario, and then take advantage of this special offer. I have to say that this special offer is valid until the end of this month. So please feel free to reach out to Victoria throughout the next few days after today's webinar. Having said that, I think we have a few questions, as I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation. Yeah, I can see some. We've captured some other ones throughout the different channels that we have been broadcasting live, Facebook and LinkedIn. And I see, for example, a couple of questions. We have a few minutes until the end of the presentation, so we'll be able to go through all those elements. This one is particularly for Victoria. I see that we've seen different solutions, and the question is, what are the main needs and trends that you identify with small and large companies? Because I believe everything differs from the needs of a large company and a small company.
Yes, thank you for the question. To be honest with you, in general, in any business segment, which is not used to machine translation, we're still educating and trying to to provide as much knowledge as possible to our clients of the benefits of the use of the machine translation. But the trends that I see currently, obviously, website translation, to be able to have the ease of translating the content, updating the content in many different languages has been very demanded, I would say, among many businesses, small and large. And the document translation, especially the PDF, is also something that a lot of companies in not just construction, but a lot of complex industries that have a lot of documentation, such as legal, such as medical, are using. So I would say document translation as well as website, and also terminology portal is becoming very interesting. It's still at this stage where we need to probably more provide the value and the benefit and how it will help your organization. And it's still in the very early stages of implementing it, but there's a lot more demand for that too. And a lot of industries are seeing how it can help. I hope I answered.
This is good, Victoria, because you mentioned terminology and the website translation, and I see now that we have more questions coming in, and they are related to those two specific topics. One of them is, can you tell us more about the search engine optimization function of the website translation?
I'd say this is a more technical question for Arturs.
Sure, yeah. Search engine optimization, I would say it's a crucial functionality in terms of how the company or the web page can be searchable into the multiple languages. So in simple words, our translation tool creates versions of the web pages in several languages, so that the search engine, for example, like Google, can identify the content, the keywords, the special phrases, even the links, which is very important for the search engine. The web page is available in several languages. For example, on the sample which was presented by Victoria, Tilde's web page is available for more than 10 languages. And for all those 10 languages, Google can recognize each language, and for the user request in a specific language, for example, Estonian or German, the keywords will be recognized and tilde will appear in a search results.
Mm-hmm.
So
basically, yeah, as I understand, being able to edit those keywords.
Yeah, exactly. So we have a separate interface where web page manager or marketing manager can edit and specify specific keywords related to domain or to whatever.
So that was one question, following up Victoria's answer to the first question. And the other one, which is also linked to what we've seen throughout today's presentation, is related to terminology, something also that Elisa mentioned, being in terms of complexity and so on. So the question is, how are you solving the complex specific terminology translating problem?
Probably. Probably I will take this question also. Thank you for the question. Actually, it's a good question in regard that the terminology and how to teach a system to translate in a specific manner, considering several domains, construction or a legal domain. So basically, whatever domain, it's a huge huge question, and for our solution, tilde machine translation solutions, we have a solution which provides the user ability to manage terminology collections and to learn their own systems how to translate in a specific way. So Victoria briefly demonstrated our terminology portal, which is connected with our machine translation platform. So we have this complex system itself available already for the users. So it's a combination of machine translation, terminology portal, and sophisticated algorithms which allows the user to impact machine translation quality.
And as we saw from the demo, this can be handled in different languages. We saw Arabic, we saw Armenian, Georgian, and so on. One question for Elisa, because we saw the translation of PDF documents on a demo version, and then you mentioned also throughout your process that you handle this. How are things working at your end? The question is, with this PDF translation solution.
Yeah, actually, it's really easy for us because usually we translate just the declaration. There's a few sentences, like five sentences. And when we translated them, we just take them out like a PDF file and send them to our clients and put them in the website. And they're usually quite correct because we try to use CAT tool all the time when we're making our translations. And there we are teaching our machine translator few phrases, like every day we are just correcting them. So that's easier when we need to translate like really serious documents, we do them through the CAT tool. But for just declarations with a few sentences, we use the translator with the PDF, and it works great.
Great, thank you. Then one question, probably to Victoria, who mentioned the security element. Why to pay for translation services when there's freely available options on the internet? Victoria.
Sure, yes. Thank you for the question. Well, first of all, there's different elements that probably you will get from paying for the service. First is the security. As mentioned, a lot of information that our clients are translating is confidential to the point where we can't even see the data. So it's extremely important to secure that environment. So that's what we provide. Also, publicly available sources are not probably in smaller and more complex languages are not as good as our technology is, and that we proved by taking the first place in World Machine Translation Competition, as already mentioned. And also, as Artur said, to be able to provide fluent, human-like machine translation for an industry that speaks your company language, we specialize in customizing those systems. So preparing the systems for our clients, where we ensure the stylistic, the terminology, the complexity of the structure. So we are trying to give our clients an automated version of a translator with minimal proofreading required, and it's becoming more and more possible, and that's why we have a paid service for that, because there's a lot of work that goes behind the scenes.
Thank you, Victoria. I see one more question coming in through the chat, and is the following: can this software be integrated in with Magento e-commerce?
Probably I will take this question. So certainly, our machine translation platform have API connection. So it should be in the way that we can develop a custom integration in a platform, not only Magento, but also into the other popular platforms which we do have on the market. And this is probably this integration probably need to be discussed in more technical details with our support and sales teams, and we can come up with estimates how time-consuming in a days this integration can be made. But yeah, definitely this integration in such platforms and many other platforms has been already made, so there are no obstacles from the technical point of view.
Thank you, Artur. So I think with this we can wrap up today's webinar. What I'll do is share once again my screen with you guys. So if there's any follow-up question, you can contact Victoria. And then also remind you guys of the special offer that we presented at the end of today's. So if there's any follow-up question that comes up to you afterwards, here you have Victoria's email address, victoria.kononova@tilde.com, and the special offer that we promised at the beginning of today's event. 30% off during your first 3 months, including the free trial and your dedicated account manager. This offer is valid until the end of this month. With this, I want to thank again our speakers and everyone who has been today attending this live webinar, Machine Translation for the Construction Industry. It's been a pleasure to host you and have you today. Let me wish you a wonderful day. Thank you very much.